Welcome to the 22nd Annual City of Fort Worth Environmental Awards, but the first time the awards are being presented online. I'm Stacy Walters, Fort Worth Water's Regulatory and Environmental Administrator, and it is my honor to host today's ceremony. I hope all of you are well and keeping safe. We sincerely hope to return to our luncheon gathering in 2021. It's always a great event to be together, to see and congratulate our winners and honored guests. But for now, we will persevere. Over the past 20 years, these awards have evolved from recognizing companies that are 100% compliant with pre-treatment wastewater regulations to also honoring successful pollution prevention and water conservation programs. We are in our second year of honoring companies that have been uniquely innovative in reducing their environmental footprint. And let me tell you, this year's crop of entries are impressive and forward-thinking. From composting thousands of pounds of food scraps to using salon hair clippings to make hair blooms to help soak up oil spills in the ocean. These entries represent awe-inspiring commitments from Fort Worth companies doing their best in water conservation and preserving and improving the environment. We will hear about these companies and their feats in just a bit. These awards are a partnership of the city's water utility and Code Compliance Department. The two work together closely on a daily basis, and partnering on these awards only highlights those efforts. I'd like for you to hear a few words from Brandon Bennett, Fort Worth's Code Compliance Director. Brandon.
Stacy, thank you. Did Stacy do wonderful or what? I met many of you last year. We talked about at the very end of the award ceremony having a water wheel by this time this year. In fact, if you all remember, we all started chanting water wheel, water wheel. So I kind of want to begin right where we left off, and that is a big thank you to Clearwater Mills and Tarrant Regional Water District and everyone else that's worked so hard not only on this event but to also move forward on the water wheel. We will have a short production video for you of a model of the water wheel. We're in the design phase of it now. Like everything else, COVID has put us behind schedule, but we look forward maybe to next year. Not maybe, let's go ahead and make a commitment. Next year we'll have a water wheel for you. I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to talk to you about COVID-19. I have 37 years of public health experience, including many epidemics and pandemics under my belt. And I can tell you that COVID-19 has presented the world with both exceptional challenges and awesome opportunities. While pandemics have a tremendous impact on human health, they can also produce a positive environmental outcome, primarily from less human activity. Reductions in travel and people working from home. All of these policies have reduced both air and water pollution. In fact, in parts of the world, adjusted factory operations have reduced the carbon footprint by as much as 25%, and nitrogen oxide emissions by upwards of 50%. And research continues into what climate benefit this will ultimately provide. However, it has provided us with a real-life opportunity to study such reductions. It's like the world is our lab. Think about places like in Venice, where water turbidity has dropped to the point that people can now see the bottom of the canals. And there's less pollution from not only stuff blowing into the canals, but also things that washing into the canals. Less vehicle traffic means less oil spillage, less gas spillage, less everything going into our watershed. Or let's think also about how decreases in fishing fleet activities will certainly increase fish biomass, and decreases in other sea and water activities will result in better breeding and nesting environments. All of these things will produce some lasting benefit to our environment. Many of these early environmental benefits are now being challenged as economies come back to life. Temporary regulation reductions and policy decisions to boost economic output, which is important, will also end up being a real-life case study in and of itself also. This is where events like this play an important role. They promote an open and constructive conversation about such matters. They challenge us to move from what if to what is. And they give us an opportunity to celebrate our collective efforts for a safe, beautiful, and healthy environment. To all the folks that make great things happen every day, a great big thank you. And to this year's award winners, congratulations. Stacy?
Thank you, Brandon. Did you know DFW International Airport is one of the region's shining examples of how to best limit your environmental footprint? The world's third busiest airport in 2019 is carbon neutral. It's the first airport in North America and the largest airport in the world to achieve carbon neutrality. Think about that. The airport covers more land than New York's Manhattan Island. Robert Horton, Vice President, Environmental Affairs and Sustainability at DFW International Airport, is joining us to talk about the airport's program he's developed. Welcome, Robert.
Good virtual morning, everyone. My name is Robert Horton, Vice President of Environmental Affairs at DFW International Airport, and I'm pleased to be here to celebrate your great accomplishments in advancing sustainability across the Dallas-Fort Worth region. The work you're doing responds to the many challenges that we face as a community and as a planet, and I thank you for all that you're doing to demonstrate leadership in this area. On behalf of the airport, I would like to thank the City of Fort Worth for hosting this long-standing event, highlighting some of the most unique and innovative programs across the region. And a special thank you to Mayor Betsy Price for her leadership and commitment to sustainability both at the City of Fort Worth and Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, ensuring the quality of life for future generations and the long-term viability of our community. At DFW, our sustainability strategy is based on the belief that protecting the environment is not only the right thing to do, but also makes good business sense. Our commitment to sustainable and socially responsible business practices remains steadfast, and each year we raise the bar and set our sights on even greater long-standing impacts. As a leader in sustainability, the airport seeks to meet the world's growing travel demands while optimizing the use of natural resources and maintaining operational efficiency. In 2016, DFW became the first North American airport to achieve carbon neutrality, which was important for several reasons. First, it allowed us to globally benchmark our progress over the prior 2 decades of strategic investments in sustainability-related initiatives. Second, it validated the connection between operating more efficiently and lowering our environmental footprint. And finally, it declared to the world that we care about how our business impacts not only our financial bottom line, but also the natural resources and the surrounding communities that we serve. As you well know, humanity is facing unprecedented challenges that at times can feel insurmountable. People like you who care about and focus on these issues are taking the long view in your work, even when you don't receive that immediate gratification for your efforts. Yet, we all know how important today's actions are to leave a better world for the generations to come. Let me paint a picture of what the world might look like in 2050, just 30 years from now. By 2050, the world's population is expected to grow to approximately 10 billion, with approximately 70% living in cities. Closer to home, the U.S. Census Bureau reported earlier this year that between 2010 and 2019, 3 Texas counties experienced the largest gains in population. The Dallas-Fort Worth-Arlington metro area had the largest numeric growth, with its population increasing by approximately 1.2 million. I know we all see the effects of that growth in the competition for physical resources, such as our congested roadways, as well as our natural resources, such as water. We see the droughts that have resulted in conservation efforts, and land, which we're rapidly seeing being converted from natural habitat to developed structures, often without consideration for the ecological services those natural systems provided prior to removal. We at the airport are also evaluating the potential disruptive impacts of extreme weather events. Events such as winds. The tornado in October of 2019 caused EF3 damage in the Dallas suburbs and was listed as the costliest tornado event in Texas history, $1.6 billion. DFW Airport also incurred $17 million of damage in that single weather event. Extreme temperature. The hot Texas summer trend is increasing. We've seen that the average low temperature in the summer has increased by nearly 5 degrees since 1970. Our electric grid is unprepared for the resulting increase in cooling demand, which can cause our grid to become unstable. When the electric grid becomes unstable, we start to see emergency energy alerts and power outages that disrupt operations at our businesses and in our daily lives. ERCOT's all-time peak demand record of 75,000 megawatts was set on August of 2019, also driven by the summer heat. I say that as we're preparing for the other extreme, that is, our winter weather season, where we prepare our campus for the use of potentially harmful de-icing chemicals that are needed to make aircraft and surfaces safe for flying, but must be carefully managed to protect water quality. These increases in heat and humidity, along with diminishing habitat, can allow disease-carrying insects and animals to spread to new locations, increasing the risks of more global pandemics, which I think we all can agree we don't need more of. But enough of the bad news. I know we've spent the past 8 months worrying about our future amidst this pandemic. In my opinion, I don't believe there's a need for despair. We have hope because of people like you all. People who recognize the challenges and are willing to tackle them head-on. We're fully aware of the effect we have on our world and are committed to doing better and working hard to improve our communities. Coincidentally, Our collective efforts were identified as critical steps way back in 1987 by the UN when sustainable growth was first defined as growth that meets the needs of the present without compromising future generations from meeting their own needs. That led to the subsequent development of the UN Sustainable Development Goals in 2015 that advocated for a cross-functional, cross-jurisdictional global effort to halt the negative trends that we're seeing today. Whether you're working to protect our water resources, improving recycling rates, improving air quality, or just to generally promote sustainable business practices, the work you do is and will make a difference in the life of current and future residents of our community. Our airport is considered a critical asset for the region, not only because of the $37 billion economic impact, but also because of its ability to connect the region to their national and global economic and recreational concerns. In fact, at the onset of the current pandemic, when people were not traveling, the airlines transitioned to shipping medical supplies and PPE. So, why sustainability? Sustainability is rapidly becoming a business imperative that provides a framework to plan, operate, and grow our businesses responsibly. It allows us to conserve water and energy while protecting the environment for the communities. Many of you are familiar with sustainability being described as balancing people, planet, and profit, also referred to as a triple bottom line. At DFW, we've used a slightly modified concept for decision making. We call it EONs. We, in essence, make decisions based on their economic viability, operational efficiency, natural resource protection and conservation, and social responsibility. I'm proud to state that our commitment to sustainability has not only improved our reputation as a responsible organization, but has also proven good for business. If you get a chance, please check out our 2019 ESG report available on our website. We all know that to be effective, you must have a strategy, and ours involves the application of systems thinking where we recognize the connected world we live in. Our EONS approach allows us to apply that systems thinking based on the interactions that we see day to day. And we use that to frame challenges as well as to develop solutions. Because we live in such a complex and intricately connected ecosystem, we work to scientifically connect the dots between our daily behaviors and the positive or negative impacts to our ecosystem. Then we try to decouple the global trends from their negative impacts. I'm proud of the work we've done thus far, and I'd like to share some of those practical examples with you. If you've ever flown through our airport, you know that we have a lot of glass in our terminals, which all provide nice views of the airfield, but also brings in a tremendous amount of light and heat during our hot Texas summers. We noticed that many of the seats near the gate areas would remain unoccupied during hot weather because of the temperature on the seats, which can get to more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. In response, we successfully tested an exciting new technology called dynamic glass at Terminal A, Gate A28, and several other locations. This glass tints in response to the position of the sun, allowing us to maintain views of the outdoors while reducing glare and energy cost. We also installed in the duty-free area at Terminal D, where the heat from the windows was melting the chocolate. This is a revolutionary new way of managing energy in our buildings, and dynamic glass is now standard in all new construction at DFW. We reduced emissions from our alternative fuel fleet by incorporating renewable natural gas, which is captured from local landfills, into our bus operations. This also reduced our transportation fleet emissions by 80% while lowering annual operating costs by $1 million. We've established a strategic partnership with the Department of Energy and the world-renowned research teams at their National Renewable Energy Lab. With this partnership, we're using data science combined with the supercomputing resources of these labs to enable visualization of data in ways that dramatically enhance our ability to problem solve. For the project we call Athena, NREL modeled our shuttle bus operations that, prior to COVID, would circumnavigate the globe every 18 hours with an average ridership of less than 20%. They generated more than 21 million combinations of bus sizes and routes. Then they developed optimization strategies, which is based on fluctuating passenger demand. Consumer impacts were also included, and that's measured by ride time and the time between buses. And we also evaluated emissions. Based on their integrated modeling, they revealed several operational strategies that we will test in the future, all of which have the potential to reduce our operational costs and associated emissions by between 20 and 50%. Some of you know that DFW has poor air quality and is non-attainment for ozone. Let's say that in order to fix this problem through our environmental lens, we discovered that most of the pollution comes from on-road vehicles. Then we create policies to convert these vehicles to electric or zero emissions to improve air quality. Of course, we would solve for air quality, but do little or nothing to address congestion or many of the other challenges. This is why our coordinated, integrated ecosystem approach is so critical to the success of our airport, our region, and our world. Between 2010 and 2019, DFW achieved an 83% reduction in carbon emissions on a per passenger basis, as well as a 32% reduction in electricity cost. All this while total passengers increased by 29%. Our purchase of 100% renewable wind energy is being procured at a 30-year low commodity cost. That thanks to the competitive and deregulated energy market in Texas. One doesn't usually think about biodiversity as something that an airport would pay attention to, but DFW's property is larger than the island of Manhattan, and we actually have many natural features across our property that provide ecological services to the region. We've worked diligently to change the way we develop our property, to preserve trees, protect water quality, and balance the needs of wildlife with aircraft safety. We're currently developing a tree conservation plan to regenerate and restore some of those lost ecological services that were historically present. Some of these benefits include reducing the urban heat island effect, improving air quality, stabilizing our soils, filtering water, and many more. According to a 2019 Municipal Solid Waste report from TCEQ, North Texas has approximately 35 years of landfill reserve capacity remaining, and that coupled with a rapidly growing population of 7.7 million. Over the past 5 years, our annual waste to the landfill costs at DFW have almost doubled from approximately 1.3 million to 2.5 million. In response to that, we're establishing a circular waste strategy which is intended to convert from the current linear model where raw materials are extracted, used to manufacture goods, which are then sold to us as consumers, and then transported to landfills at the end of their life. We are instead choosing to responsibly source upstream and then find beneficial reuse opportunities downstream. Some of these beneficial reuses include diverting organic food waste from the landfill and sending it instead to local organic farmers for feedstock and to natural gardens for compost. Coincidentally, organic waste accounts for approximately 30% of our annual waste volume. Earlier this summer, we gathered and recycled more than 900 pallets, which would otherwise clutter the ramp areas and create safety hazards, and sometimes subsequently sent to the landfill. This strategy will eventually generate revenue sufficient to cover the cost of transporting to the recycling facility. With regard to construction projects, in the past year we've achieved an approximate 99% diversion rate based on weight. We recycled 549,000 tons from landfills and staged for future reuse. This is compared to the annual 32,000 tons of municipal solid waste that we transport to the landfills. On October 20th, we were officially named to the 2020 Texan by Nature 20 because of our commitment to elevating conservation as an ethos and practice. Texan by Nature is a nonprofit organization founded by former First Lady Laura Bush. On October 27th, we were notified that we were winners of the 2020 UN Momentum for Change Climate Action Award. So what's next? Based on our alignment with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, we're establishing 6 aspirational sustainability focus areas. These are areas that we believe are essential to our survival over the next 30 years and to our region. With this as part of our strategic efforts, we will become resilient to the threats that would otherwise consume us. We remain committed to doing this work in spite of the challenges that we face daily, and we look forward to continuing this conversation into the future. I'll just share one of those aspirational goals. In the past August, DFW committed to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2030, which is 20 years ahead of the global target of 2050. The bulk of our remaining emissions currently come from natural gas that is used to heat our facilities, and then followed by fuel from our transportation fleet. Hopefully, our examples can also inspire you to know that we have the people and the tools to solve many of the complex challenges we experience today. While we're all struggling with maintaining a sense of normality amidst this pandemic, please remember that coordination and cross-functional collaboration should be business imperatives. In addition, having bold leadership and a clear organizational vision are necessary to move the needle. We at DFW are privileged to have the support of our executive board of directors that includes Mayor Price of Fort Worth and Johnson of Dallas, our CEO Sean Donahue, and our entire executive team who strongly support the work that we do. And their teams recognize the importance of working together to achieve our ambitious goals. I remain inspired by the work you've all done and continue to do. The great city of Fort Worth is well positioned for future success with the leadership gathered here today. And with that, I thank you for your efforts and look forward to future partnerships and positive outcomes resulting from our collaborative efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. That was certainly inspiring. So let's now move on to awards. Because this is online, I will read the names of the award winners, being sure to pause so those companies that have just been announced can give themselves a round of applause. And we hope you do. Celebrate your achievements. We will begin with the Pollution Prevention Awards. Recognition is given to Air Force Plant Number 4. Beginning in late 2017, Lockheed Martin has updated how it paints jets produced at the plant. The process has reduced material waste and increased efficiencies. Since April 2019, 175 gallons of paint and 400 pounds of volatile organic compounds were not used. As the program continues, the plant will see savings increase by 20% annually. Alcon Vision LLC. Alcon has been eliminating tons of corrugated cardboard waste. By not using corner boards when shipping boxes of product, the eye pharmaceuticals company eliminated 41 tons of waste a year. In addition, they've started using reusable plastic totes for other shipping and eliminated another 80 tons of cardboard waste. And they upgraded their irrigation to using drip irrigation rather than spray irrigation heads. The water savings totals 12,900 gallons a year. Molson Coors USA LLC. The beverage maker in 2019 found ways to save more than $1 million. They continued a program to switch to LED lighting and change a brewing process that saves 4 million gallons of water a year. The largest part of the savings came in changes to a filtration process that reduced use of raw material, diatomaceous earth, by nearly 4 million pounds. Naval Air Station Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base. The Naval Air Station has diverted 3,314 tons of waste from the city's landfill. That has come through a base-wide recycling program and sorting of solid waste to remove recyclables. The efforts have had a $374,000 economic benefit. And the Western Currency Facility. The printing plant has saved $81,000 in operating expenses. by reducing power on its chilled water system. Congratulations to these 5 companies who continue to find ways to save the environment and cut costs along the way. Our next set of awards are being presented to recognize companies that have been 100% compliant with the industrial pretreatment requirements of the Clean Water Act, while maintaining a clean record with state and city environmental regulations. Fort Worth treats the wastewater for 23 communities. Some of these wholesale wastewater customers contract with Fort Worth to operate their pretreatment programs. Receiving certificates from this group are in Crowley, in Everman, in Forest Hill, 9 industries in Horton City are receiving awards. In North Richland Hills, in Richland Hills, 7 industries in Saginaw are being honored. They are Congratulations to these companies. Now focusing on Fort Worth companies. Receiving STAR awards for 1 year of compliance are Receiving associate awards for 2 consecutive years of compliance are Receiving partnership awards for 3 to 10 years consecutive compliance are for 3 years. For 4 years. For 5 years, for 6 years, for 7 years, for 8 years, for 9 years. Stewardship awards are presented to companies with 11 or more years of consecutive compliance. The companies with 11 years. "13 years. "14 years. 17 years. And 18 years. Our next group of awards is the recognition awards given to companies that are implementing programs that encourage conservation and mindful stewardship. The subcategories within recognition awards include Smart Water and Fort Worth Friendly Landscapes. The 2020 winners are the Tarrant Regional Water District, being recognized with the Fort Worth Friendly Landscape Honor, and Tarrant County College District, which is being honored with a Smart Water Award. Started in 2010, the Smart Water program honors those customers that implement findings from a facility evaluation. The audit shows the customer how the business can save water. This is the 9th year TCCD has participated in the program. This time, the college district started saving approximately 280,000 gallons of water annually at its Northwest Campus Fire Training Facility. There, the college started pumping water from a rainwater retention pond to use in training instead of domestic water. Fort Worth Friendly Landscapes recognizes commercial properties that incorporate water conservation principles in their landscape. The Water District does just that at its offices on Northside Drive along the Trinity River, where landscaping was designed to address stormwater use and water conservation. Congratulations, TCCD and TRWD. This year, we have 5 awesome Innovation Award winners. On a side note, our awards are environmentally friendly. Winners and honorable mention recipients receive an elegant, hand-blown artisan glass trophy made from certified earth source raw materials. Let's begin with Molson Coors Beverage Company, which has been selected winner in the Water Use and Process Improvement category. In 2019, the Fort Worth Brewery changed its manufacturing process to a single pass filtration that, among other things, greatly reduced the demand for water. Congratulations, Molson Coors. Novak Hair Studios in downtown Fort Worth is this year's recipient of the Innovation Award for Water Conservation. As part of its customer service, Novak encourages its staff and customers to bring reusable water bottles with them. The salon features a refillable water station that has diverted 34,000 water bottles from the landfill in 2 years. Congratulations, Novak. Rent Historic Fort Worth, which redevelops homes and apartment buildings in 3 historic neighborhoods, is awarded an honorable mention in this category. Rent Historic Fort Worth replaces older water-guzzling toilets to new water-saving toilets provided through the city's Smart Flush program. To date, Rent Historic Fort Worth has used 35 Smart Flush toilets in their projects, saving untold gallons of water. Congratulations, Rent Historic Fort Worth. The Tarrant Regional Water District is the winner in the Stormwater category. Already honored for its water conservation, this award goes further to recognize the agency for its Rainscapes project at its Fort Worth campus. Rainscaping intends to see stormwater as a resource and not a burden to be gotten rid of, according to the Water District. At its campus, the nearly 175,000 square foot Rainscape encompasses a rain garden, meandering rock channels that help sediment in the water to settle, a bioswale, 3 5,000-gallon rainwater cisterns, micro pools, and 170 native and adopted plants. It's a certified wildlife habitat and pollinator west station, and attracts waterfowl, songbirds, and insect species, and a fox. It's all designed to clean the water before it reaches the Trinity River. The garden is open to the public to see and learn from. Congratulations, Tarrant Regional Water District. UNT Health Science Center at Fort Worth is this year's winner in the land development category for the creation of its HSC community garden using what it says was a rarely, if ever, used tract of land. A few years back, the university took the open, grassy lawn between two buildings and turned it into a garden. Today, the land houses 35 individual gardens. Each is tended by either an HSC student, HSC employee, or a community member. The gardeners keep most of their yield, but they are required to donate at least 25% of it. That has resulted in donations of 1,524 pounds of fresh produce to local food banks, including the on-campus student pantry. The garden has a focus on environmental stewardship. HSC prohibits the use of synthetic pesticides and encourages native plants in common areas to attract pollinators, composting, rainwater harvesting, and using outdoor furniture made from upcycled materials. To date, 9,960 pounds of food waste and 515 gallons of coffee grounds have been diverted from the landfill through the garden's composting system. There's also 2 rain barrels collecting water, which the gardeners use. Congratulations, UNT Health Science Center. NT Window in South Fort Worth is receiving an honorable mention in this category. The window manufacturer invested in the former S&H Green Stamps warehouse and distribution building built in the late 1950s on West Seminary Drive, taking the abandoned building and making it into their facilities. In the process, they were able to salvage steel infrastructure, but also several interior wood and glass doors. Congratulations, NT Window. Already honored for water conservation, Novak Studios is our pick as an Innovation Award winner in the solid waste recycling category for its zero waste facility. Remember those hair booms I mentioned at the beginning? Novak collects and sends 100% of their hair waste to be recycled. It goes to a company that makes hair booms used to soak up oil in the ocean. Hair is excellent at soaking up oil. This is just one example of the many things the salon does to promote being a sustainable business. Novak said it diverts 95% of its waste. Aluminum foils used in hair coloring is recycled and melted down for other uses. Hair coloring byproducts are recycled and the chemicals spun to separate them from the potable water. The chemicals are then properly disposed of. All told, the salon diverted 37,400 pounds of waste from the landfill in the last 2 years. Congratulations, Novak Studios. Lundquist Hair Design on Merrick Street receives an honorable mention in this category for its Green Loft initiative. The salon has recycled materials since opening in 2012 and became Green Circle certified in 2017. Green Circle is a movement to help the salon industry reduce its environmental footprint and provide options for consumers looking for genuine green in salon care. The salon recycles leftover chemicals and hair color and expired styling products. They too recycle cut hair, foils, aerosol cans, broken hair dryers and curling irons, plastics, metal, and paper. They also compost leftover snacks, coffee grounds, and tea bags. In 2019, the salon diverted 525 pounds of waste from the landfill. Congratulations, Lundquist Hair Design. Molson Coors is also receiving honorable mention in this category. By using the single pass filtration discussed earlier, The beverage maker has used 3.9 million fewer pounds of the raw material, diatomaceous earth, which is used as a filter aid in 2019 from 2018. Congratulations, Molson Coors. Our final award is Industry of the Year. The award recognizes a company that has 5 or more years of consecutive compliance and significant pollution prevention activities that go above and beyond. The 2020 Industry of the Year is Naval Air Station Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base. The primary mission of NAS Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base is to train, equip, and support assigned Navy, Marine, Air Force, Army, and Texas National Guard aviation and ground units in preparation for mobilization readiness. NAS Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base has had an excellent record of compliance. This year, the base has been awarded the Pre-Treatment Partnership Award and for achieving an impressive 18 consecutive years of regulatory compliance with the Clean Water Act. Pollution prevention is crucial to implementing environmental programs at the base. Naval Air Station is an advocate of the Navy's pollution prevention objectives for a clean, safe environment. The guidelines of their pollution prevention efforts are based on environmental compliance, source reduction, waste minimization, promoting responsible citizenship, and encouraging feedback from all personnel. The base has diverted 3,314 tons of landfill waste to recycling, resulting in 45% less solid waste generated at the base and $374,000 in economic benefit. Congratulations again to the Naval Air Station for your Industry of the Year honors. And a huge congratulations again to all the award winners. What an amazing group of companies. Before we conclude the program, I'd like for you to hear from Fort Worth Water Director, Chris Harder. Chris?
Thank you, Stacy. Eliminating waste, recycling, and reuse, increasing efficiency, reducing water and energy usage, and process and environmental improvements. These improvements don't occur without knowledgeable technical staff being willing to put in extra effort to initiate changes and see these process improvements through to implementation. Furthermore, operational optimization, regulatory compliance, and environmental stewardship require constant attention and focus. We appreciate the efforts of both companies and the individuals who put forth the daily effort and celebrate them today. We all know that regulatory requirements are not static. Our knowledge of environmental risks, as well as our ability to detect and analyze chemicals at increasingly lower concentrations, has resulted in environmental regulations becoming more stringent over time. Keeping current with these requirements can be challenging, especially for many of our smaller companies where individuals tasked with environmental compliance may also have numerous other responsibilities. One goal of these awards is for you to get to know the individuals from other companies that are working alongside you and collaborate and exchange information that might be helpful to you and our industry in general. Ultimately, everyone within the region benefits when we collectively are successful. The Fort Worth Water Utility won't meet state and federal regulatory requirements of our discharge permit without industrial dischargers meeting their pretreatment requirements. Of course, it goes beyond meeting requirements. A successful industrial pretreatment program reduces wastewater treatment and biosolids processing and disposal costs, savings that allow Fort Worth to keep rates low. But you already know that there is a good business case for environmental stewardship, because when I listened to the improvements and innovations listed in this year's awards, many of those improvements also resulted in cost savings to your company. I would like to congratulate all of this year's award winners, and especially our Industry of the Year, the Naval Air Station Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base. I also want to highlight the fact that numerous companies are celebrating over a decade of environmental stewardship and compliance. We want to express our appreciation to those companies that have created a culture that values conservation and environmental stewardship. Lastly, I want to thank our wholesale customers, many of whom are attending virtually, for their partnership over the years. Fort Worth operates a regional utility, and we want to recognize the value of our wholesale customer partnerships in meeting our regulatory requirements. Thank you for being here virtually today, and best wishes for continued success in the future. Stacy.
Thank you, Chris. Again, congratulations to all the award recipients. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next year.